I'm going to assume that if you clicked on this video, you are already aware of StarKid and their legacy. If you aren't aware of StarKid and their legacy, I suggest you get comfy and enjoy the video anyway. It's not that hard to follow. The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals is my favorite StarKid show, and you can hear all my thoughts on why it's so great in a different video I made a million years ago. Though, Nerdy Prudes Must Die is really giving it a run for its money, and I gotta get around to making a review of that sometime. So when it was announced that the Star Kids were doing a second run of The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, I was obviously excited. The team and this world have developed so much since its original 2018 run. There's a new stage, some new cast members, new lore to explore, and a new director. I definitely don't mind jumping back into Paul Matthews' living hell, and you don't get to pick your hyperfixations, meaning after I watched the new version, my brain just wouldn't stop thinking about all those differences and comparisons. So that's what this video is. Don't think of this as which version is better, because both have their own strengths and weaknesses, of course. Insert two cakes meme here, but rather consider this video an analysis of the difference between productions alongside my inane opinions. Sound cool? Too bad, because we're jumping right in. I'm not gonna explain the plot as we go. You can either watch the play or my previous video on it if you want a story rundown. If you're a renegade who doesn't know the story and wants to stick around anyway, thank you. And also, don't worry, I'll do my best to keep everything still understandable for you. Right off the bat, we gotta talk about the new stage and how I don't like it as much as the original. This is an impressive encapsulation of both the city and the many interior locations the plot goes through. Because yeah, The Guy Who Doesn't Like Musicals has a lot of location changes. You need a stage to be versatile and simple all at the same time, but I just feel the limited stage of different light colors to display each new location was really slick. I mean, there's a reason why it won a shitload of awards despite being little more than some chairs, colored squares, and a keyboard. First up, we get a look at the Star Kids' growth here, with Jeff's vocals being a clear upgrade between versions. Let's not get it twisted, the whole cast was already great back in 2018, but you can hear how confident Jeff is now. I won't bring it up like for every performance, but just know that that's true across the board.
The guy just doesn't like musicals!
I really like the walkin' to work dance move, but also I sorely miss the sinister dabbing from the original.
Should we kill him? Should we kill him?
Lauren's hair and outfit are really cute here, and keep note of that, it'll be important later. I appreciate that we actually get to hear the cast say yay, rather than have a stock sound effect of children play.
The apotheosis is upon us.
Yay!
The apotheosis is upon us.
And the train made it in! If you've seen the behind the scenes for Guy, you'll know that this train section was planned to happen back in the original, but ended up cut. It's super fun to see it come to fruition finally. Having the opening number wrap up with the cast setting the stage for the next scene is slick. It was a little clunky previously, having to suddenly shift into, okay, the show started mode before. I'm also gonna make note of a very smart comment that mentioned how nice it is that the way they wheel Paul out on his chair makes it feel like the Hive are placing him into their story, almost stealing his agency away even before the meteor strikes. Very cool. Fun fact, the only difference in this guy's order at Beanie's is he's added a pistachio croissant. He even says grande incorrectly both times.
Yeah. Can I get a grande caramel frap and a venti cup with 10 pumps of hazelnut, 3 shots of espresso, no caramel drizzle with whip on top? Yeah, can I get a grande caramel frap and a venti cup with 10 pumps of hazelnut, 3 shots of espresso, no caramel drizzle, and a whip on top, and a pistachio croissant?
Something I think is interesting, this guy comes across much more rude in the original version. Something about Jeff's new performance gives him like a happy-go-lucky vibe. He was just excited for a song. We get our first cameo. Hot Chocolate Kid had new life breathed into him as the character was assimilated into Peter Spankowski in Nerdy Prudes Must Die. It's fun that it turns a one-off gag character into a piece of a bigger narrative now. Personally, I find the I'm on vocal rest joke funnier in the original.
Why aren't you working?
Oh, I'm on vocal rest.
What?
I'm on vocal rest. God damn it, I'm on to make a tea with honey, okay? Oh my god!
Why aren't you working?
Oh, I'm on vocal rest?
What?
I'm on vocal rest.
I think across the board, the line delivery was a lot snappier and quick in the original. The whole show also had a much more sardonic tone to its humor. Nobody was taking anything too seriously, which kept it all quite light and fun despite the horror elements. Whether you prefer the new version's more grounded portrayal of the characters and events or not, will have to be something you ruminate for yourself. I do think that may be why I find myself not liking Emma as much for the remount here. She and Paul were already kinda sticks in the mud that you learned to love back in 2018, but this new version had me really pressed for some reason. She's just like, mean. And terse, and kinda full of herself. Lauren has definitely given herself the uphill battle on getting the audience to root for Emma after the meteor hits. She succeeds, but you know. That all being said, I love how Paul now runs back to continue arguing with the Greenpeace girl. It helps make this line hit a little bit harder.
You come out a little strong with that whole save the planet bit, as if I'm gonna do that single-handedly.
Well, you know what?
Not much to say about everyone's reaction to the meteor falling, except that I don't get why Sam the cop now walks and talks like Doom Guy. Is this to help differentiate the characters? I know it could be confusing keeping track of all of Jeff's characters. He plays like 4 of them, but I don't know, this is weird, right? It makes it feel like he's already part of the hive. I do wish the music didn't start until Professor Higgins activated Alexa, like how they do in the original. Now, there's an underlying melody playing throughout the sequence, and it feels less impactful, if you ask me. Speaking of Professor Higgins, we ought to discuss the show's biggest change. Robert Mannion has been removed from the Star Kid lineup due to some inappropriate behavior on his part. You can look up the details if you want more. I ain't no drama channel. Which means someone new had to play the role of Professor Higgins. Enter Will Branner. Initiated into the Star Kid crew with his phenomenal work as the central villain in Nerdy Prudes Must Die, seeing him take on the role was exciting news even before the show dropped, and he does not disappoint. I'll talk about Will and his version of the Professor when he gets introduced into the plot properly later on. For now, I need you to know that his short monologue that finished up the pre-musical preamble lives rent-free in my head.
I've been waiting in the wings. The stage is set. It's showtime.
The new sound effect-driven pantomime is snazzy. It's fun that La-Di-Da-Da Day is now populated with a bunch of cameos of other Hatchetfield characters we've come to know. It really connects the guy who didn't like musicals to the rest of the series without just coming across as fan service, like Jaegerman and Frank Presley are part of the hive already. We know these people now, and it creates a darker undercurrent for the song. This isn't just a town becomes a musical anymore, it's the town and its inhabitants we've come to know dying in front of us. Mariah performs the song much bouncier now, contrasting that darkness I just touched on nicely, so the audience isn't thrown into the horrors of it all too early. It also just makes the character come to life a lot more. Across the board, the cast are much more steeped in each character now. Comparing the two, the original version's songs are just that. Songs, sung by these talented actors. This new version really took the effort to make each character come to life, despite the apotheosis into a hive mind, and it just breathes so much into each song. I really like this new choreo here. Honestly, a lot of the new choreography is bouncier and more stimulating than the original. It's more fun to look at, and is more oppressive towards Paul. Joey's homeless character has always been kind of hard to understand. Having to sing quite quickly in his deep voice has his words melting together a bit.
Used to want to kill them all while high on bath salt zombie trucks, snacking on a dead man's face.
It's nice that you can hear him more clearly now.
Used to want to kill them all while high on bath salt zombie drugs while snacking on a dead man's face.
First instance of seeing how much more physically inclined the hive are now. The singers are a lot grabbier in this version, which I think makes the threat feel more valid early on. Bonus shout out to the line of character cameos, plus just Jamie in a bucket hat at the end. The hive almost gets Paul right here. It's the same motion they do at the end of the show, but they get distracted with their a cappella section. Mariah's doing a really great job, so it's tough to notice, but John pulls out one of the funniest faces of the show here. I know the okay joke has to linger because it's giving the cast time to change backstage, but I feel like it drags a little bit in this new version. What Do You Want, Paul may be the song that's seeing the biggest improvement between versions from Act 1.
But if you can't pin that point that's in the sky.
Jeff has learned how to temper his falsetto and is singing in a register that seems much more comfortable for him. I do think the original was a little funnier. Jeff is good at that manic humor, but luckily this version keeps that humorous tone. Mr. Davidson also sees a boon to his characterization here. The joke about wanting his wife to choke him while he jerks off has been developed into Mr. Davidson clearly just being awfully horny. From being more physical with Paul to playing with his tie, despite being a hive mind, this version of the play really does give the impression that the characters are singing on their own behalf in a way, which I dig a lot. I didn't even realize they weren't in office chairs in the original until they started wheeling Paul around here. Best new joke in the song is restraining Paul with the phone cord.
Melissa, get my wife on the phone for me.
Mr. Davidson, I think I should leave.
No, Paul, I want you to hear this. If you leave, you are fired.
Mr. Davidson whispering, "I didn't forget," to Paul helps the scene land way better. Originally, it came across like he really forgot. It was an oddly sad element to a predominantly funny song. Now the humor isn't lost and keeps Mr. Davidson feeling consistent. It does feel a little bit like we see Mr. Davidson for real at the end. I don't think he's fighting back. It comes across more like the apotheosis is more so settling in. And for a moment, Mr. Davidson wakes up, as it were, confused and suddenly on his desk. The moment quickly passes, though, as the threat continues to solidify. Bonus thing I realized while, getting footage is Mr. Davidson looks gigantic because of the foreshortening they did with the stage. When he's on the desk, he's just so high up. He looks humongous. I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's nice that Beanies is now inhabited with real people and not 1950s gumshoes anymore. What is weird, though, is that the audience has done a total 180. At the start of the show, they were laughing and such. Now, we've got real good jokes to laugh at, but they're oddly quiet. Cup of roasted coffee is the most reheated leftovers moment of the show. Still great, of course, but very similar to the original. Even the choreo is the same. Maybe that's why I find myself watching the patrons in the back more. The blue shit in the coffee has gotten a great visual upgrade. I do miss the cool brass fanfare of the OG. It's not as punchy this time. The red lighting and harmonies that close out the song do slap the shit out of me, though. Having the office team actually hiding in trash cans now is cute. What a shame this scene was way funnier in the original. Paul and Emma's screams are both way too slow and not convincing. The whole thing kinda drags its feet, honestly.
I don't know, give us a warning or something next time. Ah! Charlotte!
Sorry, I tried to warn you.
Which is sort of true for the whole show. The new version is taking its time more often, and the 2018 version's pace was snappier. Look at the timestamps of the two versions to see. Right after "Shut the fuck up, Paul," the remount is nearly 10 minutes behind the initial run. This will persist. The whole show, not including credits, is about 20 minutes longer this time around. Whether you prefer the more realistic dialogue or the snappier pace will depend on you. Personally, across the board, I find the original much funnier, and this pacing is probably playing a major part in that. That, alongside the audience suddenly getting shy and not giving jokes the response you'd expect. Sorry to harp on that so much, but they really are part of the show. I discussed this a little bit in an ancient video I made talking about cats. You can check that out if you want to hear more on that idea, but to put it briefly, audience reactions, or lack thereof, are like the punctuation for the stage. Hearing them cheer and laugh is part of the experience of seeing a show live. I don't know, I just can't help but to notice this sort of thing, I guess. It's interesting to have half the cast run off to hide during Show Me Your Hands. It helps let us focus on a few people at a time without forcing Paul and the others to just bum around not doing anything, but also it kind of makes the stage feel a little bit empty. The filming's definitely helping with that, though.
Get a love or you'll end up in cuffs. Show me those hands, show me those jazz hands.
The slow motion action during the bridge is sick as hell. The car pantomime is also so fun. It looks cool. It implies movement for the cast, like literally they are traveling. And Doug slamming the brakes is a great new gag. So smart. 10 out of 10.
It's Charlotte, right?
I'm Charlotte.
Okay, listen.
Jamie's line delivery here makes it seem like interacting with Sam's brain has already started the apotheosis a little. Like she had to remember who she was for a second. Neato.
He's like one of those, what do you call a guy that lives in a fortress?
A king.
No.
Laugh. That was a good joke. Why aren't you laughing? It's like The only joke that survived this scene too! I guess now's the best time to discuss my feelings on the comedy for the Remount. It's not funny enough. The show is presented a lot more seriously this time around, and characters are more grounded, and fewer lines are delivered to be funny, and I can't help but enjoy the original more in that regard. The acting is stellar both times, but I just prefer it when my horror comedies are actually funny. Personally. The more lighthearted tone of Act 1 is part of the charm. It's fun and helps to have the more serious second half hit harder with its tone shift. Your mileage will of course vary. You could have easily found the jokes were ruining the mood before, but for me, I do miss them. Higgins going bleh at the Higgins going bleh at the mention of Clydesdale is so good. You know what? Let's talk about our new Higgins. I think Will is a breath of fresh air. He makes totally different decisions with his portrayal, which leads to a whole new way of seeing the character. Original Higgins was more of a twist villain. This one seems unhinged from the jump. His history with theater is also clearly making a huge impact on Will's version. From his jazz hands announcing showtime at the start of the meteor strike, it's clear that this version really is so obsessed with musicals that joining a hive mind to permanently be in one would seem great to him. Pay attention to how Will consistently faces the audience. He has these huge expressions and movements and is over-enunciating. Higgins is already acting like he's performing to an imaginary audience. When you realize that, his betrayal later becomes less of a why and more of a when. He's also seemingly the only one who got the memo about this being a comedy. Higgins is hand down the funniest member of the cast now, definitely adding to his deranged feeling too. It makes him a delight to see long before his big song later. I also really do love that Will actually plays Higgins to be an older fella. Let's be honest, Robert's Higgins always came across like a kid in a gray wig. Will's also one of the youngest members on stage, but puts in the work to change his physicality to help Professor Higgins feel his age. I will say, despite my gripes with the humor, for more serious scenes, the Remount is working wonders. Ted and Charlotte's dialogue here is more gripping, more engaging, and more dynamic. Maybe it also helps that the audience seems to have woken up again. The note that plays when Sam wakes up is so haunting and good.
Please, and we'll be together forever.
Charlotte!
Tied Up My Heart is another song that has received a major upgrade. Jeff's performance is so much more sincere this time, which not only works great for the love song that it technically is, but also helps sell the whole situation much better. OG Tied Up My Heart has Charlotte coming across pretty stupid for not doing anything. This time around, I see how she's getting tricked here, especially since we already established earlier that Sam just kinda talks and moves sorta weird even when normal.
This body's not gonna last, the air is cold and thick. I'm losing all last remaining hope for us.
Sam to grab the keys with his foot here is not only a swell joke, but also probably helped Jamie find an important prop on the floor. Thumbs up. This implication that Charlotte can't help but to dance is also a great new addition to how the apotheosis works. The spores seem to already be getting to her, but also this adds to future scenes, as we'll get to see more of this forced to dance element later on. This bit with Sam flying is phenomenal. Jamie, miles away, pretending to swipe under his chair to find some pulley system, is so goofy. They've cranked up the funny factor for Tied Up My Heart for its finale. Which makes for a far more engaging performance to watch, and a much more dramatic conclusion as Charlotte dies. The open bar scene may be the best example of the tone shift between productions. Compare the kick your head joke between the two.
Oh yeah, Bill? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna kick your head!
Oh. My head,
Yeah!
not my ass.
Yeah!
All right then. Oh yeah, Bill, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna kick your head!
Oh. You're gonna kick my head,
Yeah!
not my ass?
Yeah!
Slower, presented more seriously. Real talk, we are entering my most negative Nelly stage of this video. Lauren's monologue here is my least favorite part of the remount. She sounds too scripted. And keep in mind, I am really nitpicking the little things here, but it feels warranted. Lauren is a phenomenal performer. There's a reason she's cast in a major role for basically every Star Kid show she's in, and there's effectively no changes to the scene across versions, making the comparisons far more warranted. And finally, Lauren is the director, meaning more decisions got to fall into her hands. She had more control over the scene this time, and unfortunately, I think the scene was done better in the original version. Still great, but just better in the original. Real neato that Jamie sings Join Us and Die fully in character this time. Charlotte has a really distinct voice, and she uses it throughout the performance this time around.
And I know this is a strange thing to realize because, well, Sam's not a bad singer.
Now we'll kill you with more than harmony.
The glow-in-the-dark blue shit is an amazing touch as well, and I much prefer this new choreo. Having Charlotte and Sam attacking the others, quite frankly, gives the cast something to do now. Previously, Emma and Paul spent a lot of their time looking worried and not doing anything, because they have to stick around for the songs. This time around, the not infected members are used much better during each performance. I'm really impressed that Will was able to book it across the whole length of backstage while still talking without sounding out of breath or unnatural. Corey's performance for this whole scene was already good, but he's kicking it out of the park now. Almost antithetical to my feelings on Emma's monologue before, every line is delivered perfectly and smoothly. I was wondering what was going on with Joey's finger here. I was worried that it got locked up, but he was powering through it for the scene, something I've experienced, it's very uncomfy. But then I realized Charlotte broke it earlier during Join Us and Die. He's in character. Way to go. Knowing what happens with Grace Chastity in Nerdy Prudes Must Die, Bill doesn't realize that Deb is the much better option for Alice to date.
Suddenly, I'm defending Grace Chastity of all people, and she goes, "You just wish Grace Chastity were your daughter." And I said, "But at least he's nice to me at church."
It's God's plan! And now he's leaving me out to dry! Do something, you son of a bitch!
Previously, I'd felt the manipulative angle of Not Your Seed felt out of place amongst the rest of the Hive's performances. Now, with the new direction and characterization we've seen for the show, I feel Not Your Seed works much better. We already saw Sam do a similar thing with Charlotte. We've seen the hints of characterization coming through repeatedly. Thumbs up. I also think keeping Deb and Smoker Girl off stage for most of the song works much better. This gets to be more of a one-on-one between daughter and father, which the scene just needed. The fact that Bill no longer stupidly tries talking to her throughout helps a ton too. Not Your Seed has gone from fine to a true tearjerker, and the guitar is slick this time too.
Not your seed. Not your girl. Not your girl.
Fuck, and John's performance, I'm crying. I'm trying to write a script, and I'm crying. It does kind of make the speaking in unison joke feel kind of out of place, but it's nice to keep a slightly humorous tone still visible as we head into some of the more fun scenes of the second act. This face acting is when I really knew Will's Higgins was gonna be my favorite. It's nifty seeing the subtle differences in Jeff's performance for McNamara now that he's a lot more familiar with the character. This version feels much more familiar to the hero we got to see take part in Black Friday without altering the dialogue. McNamara's discussion with Paul about love gives me the opportunity to mention I never really bought Paul and Emma as particularly compatible, but maybe that's because real-life married couple Lauren and Joey have such stellar onstage chemistry that I can't help but think Emma and Ted would have more in common. Show-stopping number has some humongous shoes to fill. Watch any ranking guy who didn't like musical songs list, and this is consistently in the top 3 and topping most people's lists. It is the final hurrah before the shit hits the fan. And they nailed it. From reworking the jokes leading into the scene to Will's whole performance, it is fun, while also being fresh. You should just go watch it, but I'ma still talk about all the stuff I liked. I like that they bring back the too many curves joke. I like that Will plays this in a less sexual way. They amped up the interactions between Higgins and Ted to great effect. The lights coming on for Workin' Boys rules. I am impressed that Will still did the choreo, and also I'm happy to see that he still kept Higgins' bad knees for it.
Ring, ring! Oh.
This walk, playing the long phone call up for jokes rather than taking it seriously, helps the pacing a ton. The joke that the Hive has no idea how football works is a great background detail. And finally, having Higgins rejoice as he's gutted since he's getting what he wanted sticks the landing on a stellar version of the song.
Show-stopping number, a real showstopper, an aria to rule them all.
If I could play Joey's entire run through Vines as he swears, I would. This is the funniest joke in the show. I really miss the I bleed red, white, and blue lights, though. Come on, a blue spotlight on Ted when he gets shot would have fucked so hard. Making the whole song a slow-mo fight scene is a great way to fix my biggest issue with the original version. Paul and Emma just fucking around going, what do we do? This is more dynamic and makes the characters feel like they actually have agency. Unfortunately, the song is kinda mid. America is Great Again never blew me away before, but now there's way less impact. Both the chanting and Jeff's vocals have all gone up a tiny bit, and it just doesn't hit as hard.
The final solution!
It's great that Paul actually gets a seatbelt now, and I like that they don't magically stop shaking when they get jump scared by Zoe anymore.
Okay.
Good new joke. I'm glad this scene got to keep its humorous tone. Honestly, Act 2 is, for the most part, still way funny, and I just can't help but wonder where that all went for Act 1. If the whole show had kept this tone, it'd be the better version hands down, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The show's still not over. I'm glad that, if you know about the Lords in Black, you would recognize Pokey's face on the meteor. But even if none of those words mean anything to you, giving the meteor a scary face is still very effective. Seeing Paul fight back the first note is great, and I love this new punchy choreo. Paul's movements, becoming the choreography, also makes me lose all of my shit. John has developed so much as a vocalist in these 8 years. Listen, he already blew me away with Nerdy Prudes Must Die. I'm not surprised he's able to knock it out of the park this time, but I am so proud of him. All that on top of an even stronger acting performance, and sick blue smoke to convey the spores. Oh my god, I didn't think I could love this song more.
Maybe I've always been
Just let it out, let it out, let it out.
God help me out.
Let it out.
Bonus fact about a fog machine in a theater. One time, I saw a play with fog like this, and it set off the fire alarm, so be careful if you want to do a stunt like this. Remember when I told you to keep Lauren's cute outfit and hair in mind? It's because we get to see that at the very start of the show, she was playing Kelly, Emma's new identity after her rescue with Peep, which is neat. It implies that this all really was planned out by the Hive from the very beginning. In the original, when Paul comes out here, the audience cheers.
Oh my god!
But we know what happens now. And the silence that follows him on stage, it's haunting. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I first watched this remount 3 days ago, and I've already rewatched this finale like 7 times. This was my favorite song in the original, and it's even better now. John's vocals are stronger, the energy is bigger, the impact hits you like a truck. I love it, and I can't just sit here and go second by second on all the new elements I like, so I'll try to keep it brief. Seeing Mariah come out as Melissa from The Office rather than the nobody nurse is way more impactful. There was a popular fanon idea that Paul was faking it in the original, that he was just playing along so he and Emma could eventually escape. That's a much harder idea to swallow this time around. John is playing Paul far more aggressively this time, and real talk, it hits way harder like this. John plays a great villain. We've had him as Gary and Wiggly, but I really want to see him play the big bad in a show. Small detail, I like that the clock in the back lights up blue with the final lines.
Give us one last
Show-stopping number with Emma front and center.
Golly, this really is, oh boy, 2 cakes. I think before I get into my final thoughts, I'm gonna re-rank the songs for this new version. I can't remember how exactly this list shook down in my review of the original, but you'll get to see how things have shifted on the list with the power of editing. Number 14, Let Him Come. Still barely a song, there's a reason I had nothing to even say about it here. Number 13, America is Great Again, the only active downgrade between shows. Number 12 and number 11, Cup of Roasted and Poison Coffee. I've seen these already, I want something new for the remount. Number 10, Join Us and Die. Better choreo, but not as scary. Number 9, The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals. It's still amazing, but the lack of narrative means others push above it now. Number 8, La Dee Da Da Day. Fun dance, low stakes, cameos are cute, but it's less funny this time. Number 7, Show Me Your Hands. Love the new car bit. Number 6, What Do You Want, Paul? In my eyes, it's the song that really gets the show going. Number 5, You Tied Up My Heart. Best upgrade. It's been stuck in my head for days. I flip-flop on these two's placements constantly for this list. Number 4, Show-Stopping Number. It's still great. Number 3, Not Your Seed. It actually made me cry. It has to get at least top 3. Number 2, Let It Out. The choreo gets me so hyped up. I still really love this song. Number 1, Inevitable. It's the perfect conclusion. If I were to show The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals to someone who was totally new to Star Kid, or the Hatchetfield series, or musicals in general, I would still show them the original version. Listen, it is the show that had us all fall in love with this world and series in the first place for a reason, and still deserves the accolades and recognition for that. Its more humorous tone, quicker pace, and lack of external references just make it a better choice for newcomers. That and the small scale of the production gives it a homegrown feel that makes it super approachable. But for people like me, fans of musicals, and especially this series, the Remount really is the definitive version. Stellar performances throughout, every song hits just right, the cameos are meaningful reminders of this universe we've come to know. At the end of the day, the differences are fun to explore across the nearly decade between two productions, and both are great to come back to for a rewatch. I can see how one can end up someone's favorite version over the other, and feel free to share which version of the show you like more in the comments. Either way, I guess we all get to enjoy 2 slices of cake, huh? Special shout out to my $10 patrons: Andrew, Genital War Thunder, Hot Mud Butt, James Piper, Messiah Complex, and Ranger Sode. Thanks a million, you're all the best.